Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I believe it's called a gated card. I was inspired to make this by a swap that I received at Telford. Dinky little card here, and this was made by Heidi Smith. So many thanks for that, Heidi. I think this is great. I have also seen something similar to this made by Frenchie. I saw a video of hers about 2-3 years ago, but I've changed bits around to suit me. So this time I'm going to use Pool Party, and this is from the designer series Paper Stack. I'm wanting to use mine up because I just love the new designs that they've brought out, and all the time I've got this I can't justify buying the new ones. So this measures 5.5 inches by 12 inches. The Pool Party layer is 5 3/8 by 3 7/8. Then my Whisper White layer measures 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then I also have some scraps of Pool Party, real scraps. I have found the best way to start this is by cutting off our diagonals. And how I do that is I take a pencil, which is here, and along the side I just do a little pencil mark at 2 3/4, so that's halfway down, and then on this side I do a mark at 4 inches, and then I do the same on the other side, so that's got to be 4 inches on this one. Otherwise I'm going to be cutting off opposite corners rather than diagonally opposite rather than straight opposite. So that's my 4 inches and 2 3/4 inches along the side. And then with my ruler I'm going to join those two lines . Which is from there to there. In fact, I'm not even going to worry about drawing the lines. I'm going to cut this on my, I call this a guillotine. Trimmer to me is the one that has the little slide up and down. So what I'm going to do, now let's see if I can see what I'm doing and show you at the same time. Right, so what I'm doing is I've got my, can you see me? No, the handle's in the way, isn't it? I'll tell you what, I'll line it up first and then I'll move it to show you. So I've got that one and that one. Okay, I still really can't see this, can you? Okay, I'll explain what I'm doing. So the mark that's halfway down I'm putting on the cutting edge, and then I'm bringing the mark on the corner along the top edge against the blade as well. Okay, so what I've done, I put that against the blade and that bit against the blade and sliced it. Now I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to line that one and that one and then slice it. I much prefer using a guillotine for cutting rather than the trimmer. I don't know what it is with me and trimmers, but they just seem to go very blunt very quickly. Right, okay, so that's lined up. And I don't normally use this little one because it's in centimetres, but I thought it'd be absolutely ideal for the video because I'm not actually using it for measurements. So you need to keep these two pieces, which is why I didn't really want to draw the pencil line on there. If Can you see my pencil marks? They must be there somewhere, mustn't they? Just make sure that they're off. And if they weren't on there, they'd be on here, which I think they are. You can't see that, but it must be there somewhere. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do my score lines. I bring in my scoring board and I'm going to tip this upside down. Right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at 2 inches. Now when you do this, don't press too hard because it is paper, designer series paper, and it will split a lot easier than cardstock will do. Okay, sorry, talking too much. So what I'm doing is I'm scoring at 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches and 10 inches. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put my triangles back on again. I'll bring those back in. And obviously there are 2 ways that you could do this, but I want my triangles to come in this way. Now if you find that the point there comes over the edge, then just put it in your trimmer and slice another little piece off. Mine comes over the edge very slightly there, but not enough to worry about. And that one looks as if it's absolutely spot on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is glue these down, and I'm going to use my Tombow. So I'm just going to put a thin line on the outside lines. Oh no, this one's always good. Don't play me up now. I can actually see that that is clogged up. What did I do with my paper piercer? It's unusual for me not to have that by the side of me. Right, okay. There we go. It normally does just come out like a little plug. You see that? Yes. Pop that in there. Okay. Now let's use our glue. God, you really are being difficult today. It's going to be one of those days when I squirt it and it's going to come out in an absolute flood. Excuse me while I just lean across to get some kitchen towel. Right, are you going to come out now? Oh, you're coming to the end, aren't you? But you won't come through. Oh, come on, I can't work like this. Okay, let's try a couple of the others. I think the other 2 are just really running out. Oh, that looks promising. That's much better. Okay. So just stick that down on here, corner to corner. Line up across here. Make sure that's all done. There we go. That's that one. And then do the same to this one, which hopefully is going to be quicker than the first one. Yes, that's much better. And just line that up in the corner again, across the bottom sides. Just make sure it's not coming over the edge from the other side. Okay, right, need to sort that one out, and we'll leave that on there. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now is, first of all, I'm going to fold on the 4-inch line. Now, I would not recommend using a bone folder on this. Your finger will be quite enough. And the reason I say that is, again, because paper will split. The crease that you get with your finger really is quite enough. Okay, so when you fold it over, make sure that you're straight there, lining up here. There we go. And then this one, fold it backwards. And as you do that, line it up with this seam down here. So you get this zigzag. Make sure it's straight over there too. And again, your finger really is enough to flatten it out. And line that one up. Now, I have been playing about with quite a few of these, and it's touch and go whether they overlap or not. Oh, that's good, look at that. And I have found by doing it this way, rather than scoring it and then cutting that, I have found cutting that first, then scoring, I get a much better fit here. I'm not quite sure why, it's got to be logical, but it escapes me for the time being. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these inside, and for that I will use my snail. Oops. And then my white layer. There we go, so we get a nice little edge around here. Next job I'm going to do is my stamping. Let me bring that card back in again. I'm going to stamp the birthday wishes first, and obviously I want it to show across the top here, so when I stamp I'm going as close to the top as I can. And the stamp set that I'm using is Build a Birthday. It's one of our new ones, and this is the sentiment. And it's a photopolymer set, which I have to say I absolutely love. The ink I'm going to use is Lost Lagoon. It's a darker shade from the pool party, and I just prefer it because it's writing and I want to make sure that it is nicely visible. and I will get a scrap of paper first because I always like to test my stamps first. Yes, okay, happy with that. Right, I'll try not to get my head in front of the camera. I need to lean forward a little bit to try and make sure I get this straight. Yes, that's lovely. And then I'm going to put a flower in here. I'm using a different flower this time, but this comes from the flower shop stamp set. And I'm using this one this time. The one in here is this one. I don't know, maybe if you're new and you've got the flower shop stamp set and also the punch that goes with it, you may struggle to work out where to do your punching because the petals are not all equal, and the way to do it is once you've identified which one goes in the bottom of your punch, like this, if I can find it. Okay, so once you've found out which petal gets cut there, what I suggest you do is on the back you mark an arrow. Mine's wearing off now, but can you see that I've got an arrow? So I know that when I stamp, that's got to be at the bottom of my paper if I want to punch it out. On this one I don't, so it doesn't matter which way round it goes. There we go. And put that to one side because I want to do the flowers for this one and also the bird. So I'm going to do this flower first, and I'm using my scraps. And I'm going to do the big one first because I need the biggest piece, and I don't think I've brought over a piece that's quite big enough. Ooh, might have done. How close was that? Look at that. Just about. Yep, done that. That's okay. Happy with that. Right, okay, let's stamp the other ones now that I know that I've got that one. So first of all, we'll do this. And as I'm punching this out, I make sure I get my arrow down to the bottom. I'm also going to do one of these from the Petite Petals, and the one I'm using there is that one, which I think is identical to this really. Basically the pattern of it is the same. But this will go into the punch in whatever direction you put it. They're all the same. Okay, so that was the one that's right at the bottom. And just line it up. And to try and help you, this petal here that fits in right at the bottom, it has an extra little curvy bit there. Where these are all like 1-2 bumps, this one's got one bump and then a little bump around there. Don't know if you can see that, can you? Yes, you can. Yeah. So that's the one that actually fits in the petal at the bottom. So there's that one, and a little punch. As I say, you can put this in any which way you want to. All the petals are identical. And the other thing that we need to punch out is our bird, which I had forgotten about, I have to say. But I think we'll do it, yes, we'll fine. So that's the bird, and I just want one wing. Okay. I was talking to somebody today about the way I am with stamps. Not quite sure whether I'm thrifty or tight. Right, what I'm going to do, because there isn't any stamping on the bird and he's rather bland like that, I'm going to ink the edges. I've stamped the flower in the darker ink, the Lost Lagoon, but the sponging I'm doing in the lighter colour. In fact, I'm doing the wrong side, aren't I? I want him facing that way. Well, no worries, he gets sponged on both sides. And his wing. And the flower. Right, there we go. I might as well do this one as well while we're doing edges. I know this is the lighter ink going onto the flowers that have been stamped with the darker ink, but it doesn't matter. They're all same colour tone. There we go. Right, okay, I think that's all I need for the inking. And what I'm going to do is take my large flower and my Tombow glue. Let me just give this, whoops, just give my flower a little bit of dimension. Just curl the petals a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the bottom. Then pop that on there. And then a little bit of dimension for my little flower. And as you probably know, I like to put that on my hand and with my paper piercer to give it the body like that. Pop that onto the main flower with a little bit of Tombow. And I need a new packet of, oh no, run out of, I've got a packet there, my dimensionals. No, bear with me. Oops. I know where they are. Unfortunately, they're under my table. See if I can do this without crashing anything around. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put, I think I put 2 dimensionals on his body. Yes, I did. Near the top. The reason for having the bird as well as the flower is to try and anchor the card shut. I'm not really sure that it needs to be kept closed, because the envelope, when it's being sent, will keep it closed, and also when somebody's received it, they're going to want to stand it on their shelf or mantelpiece. go. And this one I glued on. So let's bring this back in. So what I want is, I'm going to put my glue on. Did I not stick you on? I thought I did. Let's give you a bit more. I don't want you coming off at the wrong time. Right, let's see if that'll stay put. Okay, so what I'm going to do is these large petals here, I'm going to have coming halfway down on both sides, top and bottom, so that it fits on the card like that. Obviously you have to be very careful to make sure the glue doesn't come on the wrong side, otherwise that will make sure the card stays closed. Okay, so there's that. Let me just close this ink up. I know one of these days I'm going to put my elbow in it. Right, okay. Just check which ones I'm doing. Make sure it doesn't ooze out. That's alright. Done that. And then to put my bird on. Right, okay, so that's fine. The flower will slide underneath there. The final step is to put some pearls, one in the centre of the flower and one for the eye of the bird. It's amazing what a difference just giving the bird an eye makes. All of a sudden he seems to come to life. And then I'm going to use a larger one for my flower. There. Now let's see if I can lift up my petals without pulling the flower right off. Yes, that's it. Done that. Okay. So there we go. That's my gated card in Pool Party. It's not going to stay closed, but never mind. That's fine. It's a lovely card, isn't it? There we go. I'd like to just, before I go, I would just like to show you the other cards that I made, and I would like to show you the differences that you can, the changes that you can make to these cards. Now this one is the way I saw Frenchie do on her video, and she did the same size, or at least I've done the same size as Frenchie, but she did this bit here so that that is 1.5 inches from the bottom, whereas I've done mine halfway. And she's also put her triangle that got cut off, she put it round the other way, which obviously you can do, and the front of hers, it's given her 2 down and a triangle, whereas this one is just zigzag. This is, what did I do? Oh, I did the same as this one, except I put my triangles the same way as Frenchie, but I cut up here. Okay, so I still get the diagonals that Frenchie gets, but much, much bigger. And that one I don't like. I like this, but I don't like that one. And this was just one other card that I'd made, doing it the same as that way. The other way I tried was using actual cardstock, and that was this one. And what I did was I stamped using Gorgeous Grunge on that side, and then on this side I used the stamp set that I was using all week last week, and I can't think of the name of it. Birthday Blossoms, I think it was. And then I put over, where I cut my triangle off, turned it over, so I got the Gorgeous Grunge here. Didn't work too well. I think it would probably have looked a lot better had I used a lighter colour. I will try a lighter colour one day, and then I'll post it on my blog so you can see the difference. Anyway, I hope you like these cards. They are very easy to do. That's that one. That's my Sahara Sand, this colour. So, many thanks for watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please contact me. As always, I will be happy to help. If you've enjoyed watching my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, which will either be on the right hand side of the screen or just below the screen. If you'd like to buy any of the products that I've used here, please visit my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. The link is on the screen now. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.